This is a mini review of the IPEVO VZR. It's a document camera meant to be over top of a book of some sort so that you can either create a video or stream live, or it's got an HDMI port so you can physically hook it up to a projector. It's got buttons on it so you don't even need a laptop or anything like that. Right now you're looking at me through the Logitech C525. It's a clamshell meant to be portable webcam. It's 1/3 the price of the VZR, and so I'm going to be doing a bit of a comparison between those two just to reveal a couple of inadequacies. Right now you're listening to me through a Blue Yeti, and you'll notice that I'm quiet. It's probably the first thing you noticed, and that's because this video hasn't gone through audio post-production or anything like that. Normally the background noise is edited out and the volume is increased, and that's to give you an authentic comparison between the two webcams. And I'm calling the VZR a webcam and not a document camera because it is marketed as being capable as a webcam, and you'd think something that can do very high resolution stuff with text could be adequate as a webcam anyway, because it's doing video on a book or something like that. And it's meant to be very, very high quality for color reproduction. That's one of its big advantages over just a regular webcam. Okay, so you've got the Logitech C525, and I'm going to switch over to that. Now, this 525 is normally 720p, and it's not going to compare to the 1080p of the VZR at all. But listen to the microphone. So this is the C525 native microphone. Of course it's going to be terrible. It's on a webcam. Of course it's going to be terrible because it's 3 times the distance from my mouth as the microphone I had before. In theory, what I would have is I would have the microphone like right up here, and I would definitely be able to project my voice into it a lot better. And a lot of people are good speakers, good loud speakers, but the fact is I'm speaking like a normal person in a normal room. This is a fairly small room, and a webcam and a microphone ought to be picking me up as though you are in this room that far away. So forgive the volume. We're going to do a comparison between that volume and the VZR in a second. So let's switch back to the Yeti. So you've got my regular voice. Now this is the VZR. You're going to notice a few things. First is it's flipped upside down. And that's because, okay, let me fix it. There's a physical button on the device, and that physical button means that I don't need to have software, and I can make changes to the software to have it automatically flip it vertically and horizontally, but this just does it for you. That's awesome. Okay. But the fact is it's very, very dark. And it's very dark because it doesn't have in software the auto adjustments in kind of the driver end of things that the Logitech has. Okay, but I was cheating. So let's go back to the 525. And I'm going to make a change to undo one of Logitech's settings. And it's there by default, and it's kind of hidden. So if I go into, I'm using Open Broadcaster Studio, and I can configure the video and pop up the properties for this camera. There's an advanced setting called Right Light, which I can turn off. Okay, so I've turned that off, and I can go back to the VZR, and we can compare the lighting. Okay, you can say, fine, the lighting, not great in either case. This is pretty good. I'm not quite that color, but you know, this is actually a better view for me. That's my preference. So I can go back to the and turn Right Light on. Now the other thing I want to show you is what happens if I press this little LED button on it. Okay, this is the VZR again. There's a physical button on it for an LED light, and this is meant that if it's over top of a book and you need a little bit of lighting, you're in a dark classroom, for example, you can illuminate text very easily. However, as a webcam, this is like really, really blinding. So I just can't use that. That will give me a headache in 5 minutes. So okay, I'll use a lamp. Now this is inconvenient because obviously I have to have a lamp nearby, which is just not going to be, I'm not carrying a lamp around. So I would have to carry something, twice the volume of the VZR. So let's do a comparison between the 525 and the VZR with the light off, the VZR, and the 525. And I'm going to turn off that right light feature. Okay, so the right light is off. Okay, the right light is off here. Comparison. The light. Comparison. Pretty good. A little bit brighter. That's the very brightest. Okay, so this looks good, and it requires high lighting, really good lighting. The problem is that that this kind of lighting in a pretty straightforward room, I mean, it's a little dim, but I would expect better performance out of this. However, the VZR has its own settings in software where I can actually adjust the white balance and the gamma and things like this. So okay, I can fix the gamma, and I can do a comparison between the right light enhanced, if I turn it back on, the right light enhanced and this. Now this is washed out, so this is not good at all. And so I'm going to just turn that off quick. And if I can, so that was a gamma at 85. And that's at 50, which is the lowest setting I have here. And I've got white balance, which I can turn off. That's not it. And what do I have? I have some other things that I can fiddle with. I can fiddle with sharpness, saturation, hue, contrast, brightness. Do I really want to fiddle with brightness? No, I do not. And there is no functionality, at least that I'm seeing, that's visible for having automatic brightness control or things like this. Pardon my clicking. So there's just nothing here. Okay, so this is maybe a limitation of the drivers that are cooked into Windows. Still not an excuse. Okay, so I'm going to keep the lighting on. So now you're going to hear the audio. This is the VZR audio, and just like the webcam, this is about the same distance away from me, so it's quite far away. I think this is a richer sound, but it's still webcam audio. I guess I shouldn't have been expecting anything really surprising. So this is the C525 audio. This is the VZR audio. Again, C525 audio. I'm talking with a regular voice. And VZR audio. Again, talking with a regular voice. So back to the Yeti. So one of the big problems that you've got is the lighting quality issue. And if I were in a really nice bright room, I suppose I could get away with the VZR being the way it is. So if I fiddle with my lamp, I can obviously point it at my face. So I can't expect that to be any good at all. Right now I can point it at a wall, and I can have the wall light up, and it's a lot more diffuse and it looks a lot better. And if you're doing any kind of webcam related stuff, what you would normally do is you have 3 lights. You'd have clamshell lighting, which is, if I can look at the 525. Okay, you'd have clamshell lighting, so you'd be on either side providing light here, and that's to blend out the shadows, and you'd have lighting back there to get rid of some of that background shadow, and maybe a light up there, because rooms come with lights up there. And the fact is, for a webcam, I shouldn't have to do much of any of that at all. And the newer webcams basically eliminate those kinds of problems anyway. And if I were to get, and I was looking at another Logitech webcam, if I were to get that one and have threading on the camera, so I can have camera threading on the webcam, so I can put it up on a tripod, the webcam and the tripod, or right now I've got a $20 monitor arm. I mean, $20 on a monitor arm and $100 less. Or I've got other equipment here that I can use. And so let's move forward and look at some of the other things that the camera can do. I'm going to leave this light on, point it a little bit out of my face. Okay, so I'm I'm keeping on the C525. Next, I'm going to look at the quality for something like text. And this is this is the 525. I'm looking at a really old copy of Grimm's Fairy Tales. So this is from the 60s, so hopefully they won't get mad at me. Okay, so I'm going to start really close. This is immediately nice and sharp. Now normally if you're something like streaming the entire book, you would show the entire page. And this takes a while, and I'm a little bit wiggling around. But you can imagine that if this were on an arm and it were stable, good luck doing that, that it would stay nice and sharp. So again, what's the extreme here? The extreme is kind of ridiculous. Like, here, boys and girls, this is how you draw the letter D. Awesome. Okay. So this is good. Autofocus. I think it's mad at me now. Maybe I should have... Wow, okay, Oh, fuck. I'm sorry. Maybe I should have not been so aggressive about... Okay, camera, I'm over here. Okay, we're good? We're good. Apologize for my language there. So now let me switch over to the document camera. This is going to be night and day, I am certain. Okay. So again, one of the problems is that due to the nature of this camera, it's going to, the closer something is the more shadow that is going to be there. And so it is probably going to be less forgiving than the web camera. Okay, so right up close. Give it a second. I got nothing. Okay, no problems. That nobody would want to look that close anyway. Okay, no. There, that's amazing. So you've got an optimum distance that is absolutely fantastic. Right? And once I get out there, the zoom figures itself out. That is a beautiful, beautiful zoom. So if you are doing documents, so I have a minimum distance. If you are doing documents, this thing is spectacular. Okay, let's do side by side. Okay. So you know I'm not cheating. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Out at maximum distance or so. I think that's kind of fuzzy. Looking at the VCR, that is immediately better. Now, look at how crisp that is. Now, partly that is going to be due to the fact that this is a 1080p in video. It'll do a lot better in just pictures. Now, the other advantage is I can take the VCR, I can tilt it down. Why don't I do that right now? Apologize for the video. Oh, you know I'm going to disconnect the cable when I'm pulling it around. Okay. So I can flip the image upside down. I keep bumping into my microphone. And now I can look at it. This is just great stuff. Now, of course, I've got, this is articulated, so it's got an arm that goes up and down, and the head can do this quite a long way, so I can not moving the book at all. And obviously you saw it from webcam, and it's gone down like this. I can actually bring it down so much that it can kind of look at itself. Okay, so brilliant. Okay, now I'm going to demonstrate in another video. One of the main reasons that I got this is because it had OCR, that's optical character recognition functionality, which means if I take this page that you're looking at now, I use its software to take a picture, and I there's a function in that software where it will take a snapshot, it will analyze the text, and will output it as characters for like a text file. So if you wanted to, for example, in my case, sit down and read this aloud and have subtitles appear, and you didn't want to type that out all by hand, you can actually have the OCR go and grab this page and type it out for you, and then I would just copy and paste it into my subtitle software, something like that. So I can have like a read along for people that would have an easier time following along just with text scrolling on their screen. And the OCR software doesn't work. Like, it just does not work. So I could even take this right here. You cannot get more classic than that font, more clear than that kind of image. The lighting is fantastic. Heck, I can turn the light on it. It doesn't really make much of a difference because I had excellent lighting from that lamp anyway. So overall, this is a terrifyingly expensive device. It doesn't work as a webcam because of lighting issues. If I have enough lighting around, okay, it's fine. The software, however, that comes with it is awful, and I'll look into that in the next video.